Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Carol and the name of my channel is My Blessed Nest. And today I'm participating in the Christmas Crafting with Friends collab. It's hosted by Kiki DIYs and there's a whole playlist, probably the biggest crafting collab ever. And it's all for you, our viewers, as a Merry Christmas present. So I hope you enjoy it. Grab some hot cocoa, put on your slippers, sit back and relax, and enjoy the whole playlist. Are you ready to see what I've crafted for you today? Then let's get started. The inspiration for my first craft was shown in my Christmas home tour. This cute little tree is what I'll be showing you how to make today. Here are the items that you'll need to make your very own rustic Christmas tree. This tree that I found at a craft store, fabric scraps in colors of your choice. I used red and green flannel. Jingle bells, they're very small. A wooden star. Some gold paint or color of your choice. I also had a paintbrush on hand as well as something to put my paint in. And I did use finger protectors and my sewing scissors. So the first thing I did was I cut out the green and red flannel into strips. Now this was experimental. You would need to cut a sample size and see how you like it. And then I also tied them in a knot right in the middle, and then I just put them on at random places on my tree. And I did use my finger protectors to make sure that I didn't burn myself. You will want to stop every so often and hold up your tree and give it a look over and make sure that you're spacing everything the way you want it. And also you want to pay attention and make sure you don't put too many red clumped together or too many green clumped together, or whatever colors you've chosen. Also, you can use more than 2 colors if you want. I decided to use traditional red and green for Christmas. Here's what my tree looked like when I got all of my material strips glued on. I used 11 red and 11 green. My next step was to place a dot of glue right on the knot in the center of my material strip, and then take my jingle bell and put the side into the glue that has a little portion where you can tie a string through, if that makes sense. I guess it would be the top of the jingle bell. And I just continued gluing on jingle bells to each strip of material. So that means I used 22 jingle bells. If you're enjoying my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I love doing DIYs and trash to treasures, decorating my home on a budget, and thrifting. And you'll see lots of my thrifted finds in my home decor. So if that sounds good to you, make sure and hit that subscribe button. Next, I used my gold paint to paint the gold star. I just ended up dipping right into the paint because it was a little thick and wouldn't come out. And I ended up giving it 2 coats of paint. And I used my new toy, my husband's heat gun, to dry the paint. Make sure to be careful how close you get to the paint. You can make the paint bubble. Take a minute and look at your tree and see where you would like your star to go. Put a glob of glue there on the top, and you'll want to hold the star firmly in place to make sure that it adheres well. Here's how it looks with the star in place. I also have a second idea. If you don't like the star or you don't have a wooden star, you could just tie a bow with a piece of your flannel and you could glue that on the top of your tree. Let's move on to craft number 2. This was a Pinterest somewhat fail. Well, I decided I wanted to try to use these clear glass bulbs that I've had for a while. I have some warm water, not hot, not cold, and I'm dropping some fingernail polish in there. And I picked a pretty green and a red for Christmas. Now, first thing I did wrong was this container was not big enough. So when I dipped the bulb, I didn't really have that much room. I do recommend wearing gloves. And this was a really super fun craft, even though it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to. So that's the basic concept. You dip the bulb in and you gather up the fingernail polish. So here I am. I moved on to a bigger container and I'm just trying it again, take 2. And I will tell you that the extra room did help, but don't use a container that you ever want to keep or use again because it ruined it. The fingernail polish lays along the bottom somewhat and it just wouldn't come off. So I did some research too, and you want to use brand new fingernail polish if possible. That's why some of mine went down to the bottom of the water because it was old. But I did get enough to stay on the top to try again. And so I'll just show you briefly. I wanted to put this one back in and gather up some pretty reds. Now, from my research, it's okay if it's not totally smooth, and it can be somewhat textured, and that kind of adds to the charm of it. So make sure you have a nice place to let them dry. I just used the container that my clear bulbs came in. So basically you just keep adding your fingernail polish and you can try to make different designs. And it was a lot of fun, but if you have any allergies or sensitivities, you do want to do this in a well-ventilated area. I did not, and I ended up having to give myself a breathing treatment because that smell was so strong when the nail polish went into the water. Oh my goodness. Well, here's a look at how they turned out. I mean, they weren't terrible, but I probably won't be using them. Let me know in the comments if you've ever tried this and how it went. Let's move on to project number 3. I'm going to be taking some pill bottles and making little snowmen out of them. I'll show you how I do one, and then at the end I can show you the other ones that I made as well. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen when I made pill bottles into pumpkins, and that's where I got the idea. Well, they would make cute snowmen as well. So the first thing I did was wipe off the pill bottles with some soapy water and dried them well, just to make sure that the paint would stick better. And then I just put some white matte paint on them. And I needed 2 coats on each one, and I used my new favorite tool, my heat gun, in between coats. Next, I painted the lid in a matte black, and it took 1 coat to cover. Next, I put the lid back on the pill bottle. Now comes my favorite part. I looked up a face on Pinterest, or you could do it on Google Images as well. Just search for snowman face, and there's all kinds of faces to choose from. So what I did was I just looked at it and was able to paint it while I looked at the picture. But if you can't do that, you can always pencil it in and then fill it in with the paint. The key is to use a very fine paintbrush and have fun with it. This is my favorite part because it gives your snowman its own character. Here's how he looks so far. He's starting to look so cute. Next, I've cut a rectangle of old flannel out of one of my dad's old flannel shirts, and I just hot glued it all the way around the edge of the cap. Before I finished gluing the very last part down, I trimmed off the excess material. I also ran a line of glue and glued the whole hat together, like up the seam, and then I glued the top together so that I could add a pom-pom onto it. So just kind of gather all the material at the top and push it together and glue it tight. My last step is to glue a white pom-pom on the top, and I just put a glob of glue on there, push it, and hold it on for a minute until it adheres. Here's a quick little look at him, and I'll give you a better look at the end with all of the other ones that I crafted. I hope you enjoyed my crafts, even though one of them was a Pinterest fail. I like to be honest on my channel and show the good and the bad. So let me know in the comments below if you would try any of these crafts and which one was your favorite. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I'll link it below. Don't forget to check out Kiki's channel as well as the whole playlist. Merry Christmas from our house to your house. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.